Hi, my name is Atri. I'm a rising junior at Liquid Learning High School, and the project I chose was a phone-controlled robot arm, and this is my first milestone. So the goal of my first milestone was to get an Arduino running with my computer, to be able to download code as well as compile it with my Arduino, and also get a server running and be able to make it work with code that I write. As well as also attaching a Bluetooth receiver for further use with an app that I'll develop later into my building process. So this is my milestone 1. So here I have my cable for power as well as uploading code to my Arduino. And then under, I have my Arduino. It's kind of hard to see, but underneath is a second board, which is my Arduino. And then connected with the Sensor Shield 5 board on top. And this makes it easier to connect different servos and things at once with the kind of the row here of different inputs. So here we have ground, and then power, which is V, and then S, which is the sensor input. And then here you have all the digital pins from 13 to 0. And then here you can see my servo is connected to pin 9. And then with my servo, I have 3 different wires. So the first one, the brown one, is ground, which is connected to the ground row. And then this is power, or VCC, the red one. And then the orange one is my sensor input. And then on this side, I have my Bluetooth receiver. So you can see it's blinking red because it's on and working. So first, the black wire is my ground. The yellow wire is my power, and then the green one is my RX, and the blue one is my TX. So here you can see it's in the board with these different little slots of TX, RX, negative, and plus. And then here I have my servo running with a program that I coded called back and forth, where it just kind of tests the range of motion of my servo and rotates the servo back and forth. So this is the program that I wrote for my servo, so I can go line by line to explain what each thing does. So first I imported my servo library using servo.h, and then using that library I created a servo object called myServo, and then in the setup function I first used serial.begin to establish a connection between the serial port and the Arduino, and then I used my servo.attach to connect my servo to the digital pin 9. And then in my loop function here, this is where the back and forth action happens. So first I created a for loop where the angle of the servo is set to 0, and if the angle is less than 170, then it adds 1 to the angle of the servo. And then within this for loop, first it creates a delay just to kind of be able to change the speed of how fast it rotates, and then sets the servo to that rotation. And then this for loop here does the opposite, where it first changes the angle to 170, and then if the angle is more than 0 or equal to 0, then it subtracts 1 from the angle. And it does the same thing as before, where it delays for a certain amount of time and then changes the angle. So some issues along the way that I ran into were compilation errors with my Arduino software, as well as not getting my servo responsive with the Sensor Shield 5 board. So with the compilation error, for whatever reason, the servo library wasn't actually installed, so I had to install that to fix that issue. And for the other one, my wires were occasionally not fully plugged in, so I was able to fix that issue by readjusting them. And for some final takeaways, as well as my next steps, the goal for my second milestone is to finish building my robot arm.